The Killing was directed by Stanley Kubrick and was released in 1956. This is one of Kubrick's less recognized earlier works, and while not on the lofty level of some of his later films, this movie still stands the test of time and is highly entertaining and influential. The film centers on a group of men who plot to rob a horse racetrack. At the beginning of the film, each character is introduced and the audience sees their motivation to steal the money. And most of them are pretty good people. Some of them are just pressed for money for various reasons. Some of them, though, not so much. Some of them are just kind of a little bit messed up. One of them just gets a thrill out of taking big risks like this. And I liked that each of them were introduced this way. In a lot of heist films I see today, usually the main characters, or maybe the main couple characters, are given this backstory, but the rest are not, and they're just kind of thrown in there. But this added such a layer of depth and connection to these characters, and it made me want to see them succeed unscathed. The story centered on themes featured in other Kubrick movies. For instance, the failures of the human race, no matter how detailed they plotted. Something so small and insignificant and out of their control could just derail their entire plan. So watching these characters' stories intertwine and watching the robbery go down were both engaging, but the intensity really cracks it up a notch after the robbery. That's when things get really disorganized for these characters and the viewer does not know what's going to happen next. It was quite the thrill ride. All the actors did a good job in the film. This movie didn't look as much like other films in that era. It looked a little bit more mature visually, and that is because many of the sets utilized lamps in the scenes as opposed to big movie lights beaming down on the characters. And this was a huge innovation on Kubrick's part. It made the light on the actors' faces seem more natural. And like all of Kubrick's movies, it's so easy to see how this had an influence on films that came after. One nitpick I did have with the movie was that the narration didn't add much and was actually distracting. Not only that, it actually confused me. It just wasn't written very well, and it would have been nice to know these things that it was saying about some of the characters through the characters' actions somehow, as opposed to just telling the viewer. I've read that Kubrick didn't even want this in the film and that it was studio interference, so I won't really count it against the movie. At under 90 minutes, this heist movie was well paced, it was engaging, so much so that I think even audiences today could still get into it. And even though it was a relatively simple story, upon rewatches, I can see that viewers would be able to unpack a lot more that they might have missed the first time, just due to the subtle things that the characters would do or say. They were written very well. I'm going to give The Killing a 9 out of 10. Well guys, thanks for checking out my review of The Killing. Let me know what you think of The Killing in the comments below. And if you haven't seen it, what's your favorite Kubrick film? I'd love to know. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you for my next review.